What happens when you have everything money can buy, but happiness still slips through your fingers? Today, we're looking into the hidden struggles of billionaire sons, whose lives are filled with unimaginable privileges and unexpected pain. Growing up as the son of a billionaire might seem like the ultimate privilege, but behind the wealth lies a quieter story, one of pressure, isolation, and the heavy weight of expectations. Today, we take a closer look at what it's really like to inherit not just a fortune, but a legacy. We often think having lots of money means a perfect life that's free from problems. But when you look closer, the truth can be very different. Billionaire sons may have everything money can buy, yet they live under heavy pressure, constant judgment, and often feel very alone. In this video, we'll dive into the real struggles they face, the pressure to live up to family expectations, fear of failure, and loneliness that wealth can't fix. We'll see how, for many of them, even endless riches aren't enough to guarantee happiness or protect them from personal pain. But before we jump in, here's a quick quiz to get us started. Which family is worth more? Is it the Waltons from Walmart, Coke family, or Mars family behind the famous candy brand? We'll reveal the answer in just a moment. Let's dig in. Rory John Gates, the invisible heir. Rory Gates, the only son of Bill and Melinda Gates, grew up surrounded by incredible wealth. But his life was far from the flashy image many might expect. Bill and Melinda made sure their children stayed grounded, teaching them the value of hard work and encouraging them to build their own paths. Rory's childhood was more focused on humility and education than luxury. Still, no matter how private and simple his life seemed, this big question stared him in the face. How do you live up to a father who changed the world? Even though Rory stayed out of the public eye for most of his life, we get small glimpses through his mother's words. Melinda Gates has described Rory as compassionate, curious, and deeply thoughtful, showing that he has many strengths of his own. But being the son of one of the most powerful and well-known people in modern history comes with invisible pressure. Rory faces the difficult task of creating his own identity, while standing in the long and sometimes overwhelming shadow of his father's achievements. Conrad Hilton III, a name he couldn't carry. The Hilton name is known around the world for luxury and success, but for Conrad Hilton III, carrying that name has been a heavy burden. As the great-grandson of Conrad Hilton, the founder of the famous hotel empire, Conrad was born into wealth and privilege. Despite having the world at his feet, his life has often been marked by struggles. He battled substance abuse and found himself in legal trouble, making headlines for all the wrong reasons. In 2015, his troubles hit a very public low point when he was sentenced to prison for attacking a flight crew during a meltdown on an international flight. The incident grabbed global attention and showed just how far Conrad had fallen from the polished image many expected from someone of his background. Instead of living life filled with opportunity, Conrad's actions showed the story of a young man who seemed lost and weighed down by the high expectations tied to his family's name. Lachlan Murdoch, the heir under fire. Growing up as the son of Rupert Murdoch, one of the most powerful media figures in the world, Lachlan Murdoch was never going to have a simple life. From a young age, he was groomed to one day take over the family's massive media empire. With that came enormous expectations, both inside the family and out in the public eye. Lachlan's journey hasn't been an easy one. Every move he makes is closely watched and compared to the towering legacy his father built. Critics have often questioned whether he has the leadership skills needed to keep the entire empire thriving, and if he could ever truly step out from his father's enormous shadow. Even when he achieves something meaningful, it rarely gets the recognition it deserves. Beyond the headlines, it's clear that Lachlan's life is shaped by constant scrutiny and endless pressures. Carrying the weight of a famous last name can be more challenging than most people realize. For Lachlan, building his own path while upholding a powerful legacy has been a delicate and ongoing balancing act, one that continues to define his story. Richard Branson's son, Sam Branson, a different path. Sam Branson, the son of famous entrepreneur Richard Branson, grew up with the world at his fingertips. With a name tied to adventure, innovation, and massive success, many assumed he would simply follow in his father's footsteps. But Sam had other ideas. Rather than dive straight into the business world, he chose a different path, one built around activism, filmmaking, and creative projects that reflected his personal passions. While Sam appears happy and fulfilled in his choices, he hasn't hidden the fact that it hasn't always been easy. he's spoken about the quiet weight that comes with being a Branson. It's the challenge of trying to honor a powerful family name while still building something unique. More of being successful enough to make a mark, but not in a way that feels like trying to compete with or overshadow his father's achievements. Interestingly, Sam's story isn't about public failure or scandal, but the personal struggle of carving out an identity when the world already has expectations for you. Balancing respect for his family's legacy with a desire to stand on his own has been a delicate task. One of the most surprising truths is that many billionaire sons openly struggle with serious issues like depression, substance abuse, and even broken family relationships. Their struggles are not about money, rather they're about deep emotional loneliness, identity crises, and overwhelming pressure to meet expectations that often feel impossible. It's something that wealth cannot ease, no matter how much privilege surrounds them. When you watch media interviews, see clips of paparazzi chasing young heirs, or hear about public meltdowns, a clearer picture starts to form. These young men often live in a world where everything looks perfect on the outside, but inside, the story is very different. Hence, it's safe to say that money can buy comfort, security, and opportunity, but it can't fix what's broken inside. So which story struck you the most so far? Do you think being born into wealth is a blessing or sometimes a curse? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below, and if there's a specific billionaire son or daughter you'd like us to feature next. The most heartbreaking moment came when Conrad Hilton III stood in court, tears streaming down his face, admitting he felt trapped by a name he couldn't live up to. In that raw, painful moment, all the wealth and privilege in the world seemed meaningless. It was clear that no amount of money could free him from the heavy weight of expectation. His words prove that the fight for self-worth, identity, and inner peace are fought far away from luxury and fame. Unfortunately, some wounds, no matter how hidden, can't be healed with riches. For many children of billionaires, the pressure to live up to the family name can feel suffocating. From a young age, they're thrust into a world where their wealth is often measured by their family's legacy rather than their own achievements. However, some heirs manage to find peace by stepping away from the expectations placed on them and defining their own paths. One of them is Anderson Cooper, the son of fashion icon Gloria Vanderbilt. He also grew up in the spotlight, but instead of following in the footsteps of his famous family, Anderson chose a different path as a journalist. His decision to make his own mark in the world of news allowed him to create his own identity and legacy. This shows that it's possible to find peace and fulfillment when you build your life around your own values, rather than the expectations placed on you by your family name. Undoubtedly, wealth can buy security, comfort, even power. But no amount of money can guarantee emotional stability, a true sense of purpose, or lasting happiness. The tragic lives of billionaire sons show us a side of privilege that few people talk about. For many of these young men, this privilege is both a blessing and a heavy burden. They grow up in the public eye, with every move watched and every decision compared to the achievements of their famous parents. Some heirs manage to carve out a path that brings them peace, building lives that feel true to who they are, not just who the world expects them to be. Others, however, struggle under the weight of expectation. Their famous last names become chains rather than stepping stones. Now, if you found this video eye-opening, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit the bell so you won't miss our next deep dive into the hidden side of wealth and privilege. And if you're curious about how luxury itself is changing under modern influence, check out our next video, How Celebrity Endorsements Ruined Luxury Fashion. You won't want to miss it.